Did you know that the man who would become cinema's most iconic villain was born on the very same day that Bram Stoker, author of Dracula, passed away? This man, Sir Christopher Lee, was born on May 27, 1922, in the heart of London. His mother, an Italian countess and renowned beauty, introduced him to the world of art and culture, while his father, a decorated war hero, instilled in him a sense of duty and honour. Born amidst the aftermath of World War I, young Christopher was exposed early on to a world in transition, a world emerging from the shadows of conflict into an era of change and progress. This environment would shape his resilience, fuel his ambitions, and set the stage for a life less ordinary. Little did anyone know that this boy, born amidst the turmoil of the post-World War I era, would grow up to leave an indelible mark on the world of entertainment. Before he was known for his deep, menacing voice and towering presence on screen, Christopher Lee was a decorated war hero. During the throes of World War II, Lee enlisted in the Royal Air Force, where his determination and courage were tested in the face of adversity. However, a medical condition thwarted his dreams of becoming a pilot. Unfazed, he was drafted into the Special Operations Executive, a clandestine organization charged with conducting espionage, sabotage and reconnaissance in occupied Europe. This was a world of shadows and secrets, of danger and daring, where the stakes were high and the cost of failure higher still. Despite the cloak of secrecy surrounding his wartime activities, it's known that Lee carried out numerous covert operations, many of them behind enemy lines. His assignments were as diverse as the man himself, ranging from tracking enemy movements to aiding local resistance movements. His courage under fire, his ability to think on his feet, and his natural leadership qualities earned him numerous accolades. Yet, it was the impact of these experiences on his psyche that was perhaps the most profound. He witnessed the horrors of war firsthand, the fear, the despair, the triumph, and the loss. These powerful emotions, these life-altering experiences, left an indelible mark on him. He would later channel these experiences into his performances, lending an authenticity and depth to his characters that few could match. Lee sought refuge from the horrors of war in the arms of love, marrying Birgit Kroenke on March 17, 1961. Theirs was a love that would spawn a cherished daughter and last 54 years until his passing. Christina Erica Lee would be the actor's greatest production, the role of Daddy his best role. For one so associated with bad men and monsters, he adored being a family man, often taking his wife and child with him on location. In 1957, Christopher Lee donned the cape and the fangs to play the iconic character of Count Dracula, and cinema was never the same again. For many, Lee's portrayal of Dracula in the Hammer horror films was a revelation. This wasn't your grandfather's Dracula, lurking in the shadows and speaking in hushed whispers. No, Lee's Dracula was a towering figure, a creature of the night who commanded the screen with his deep, resonant voice and piercing gaze. He was a force of nature, a storm in human form, and audiences couldn't get enough. His performance was a masterclass in intensity and charisma. It was a role that demanded a lot from an actor, and Lee delivered in spades. His Dracula was not just a monster, he was a character with depth and complexity, a tragic figure doomed to an eternity of bloodshed and loneliness. It was a groundbreaking interpretation that elevated the genre and set a new standard for horror films. Lee's portrayal of Dracula was so iconic that it became synonymous with the character. He was Dracula in the same way that Sean Connery was James Bond or Hugh Jackman was Wolverine. His performance defined the character for a generation of moviegoers, and his influence can still be seen in modern interpretations of the character. But it wasn't just his performance that made Lee's Dracula so memorable. It was also his dedication to the role. He returned to play the character in 7 more Hammer horror films, each time bringing something new to the table, keeping audiences on their toes and ensuring that Dracula remained a compelling figure of horror. Lee's reign as Dracula was a golden age for horror cinema. His performances were a high watermark that few have matched since. He took a character that had become a cliché and reinvigorated it, making it his own and leaving an indelible mark on the genre. One added benefit to portraying the Prince of Darkness and working for Hammer in general was getting to work alongside longtime friend Peter Cushing. As Van Helsing, Cushing was often the foil of Dracula's many dark plots. The two enjoyed their time together, reuniting even in Hammer's takes on The Mummy and Frankenstein. After his reign as Dracula, Lee continued to captivate audiences with his portrayal of iconic villains in some of the biggest franchises in film history. He portrayed Scaramanga, the titular man with the golden gun, in step-cousin Ian Fleming's Bond film. He essayed the villainous Rochefort in the Three Musketeers films and portrayed the oddly sinister Lord Summerisle in the cult classic The Wicker Man, which Lee has gone on record as saying is his best film. His deep, commanding voice and towering presence were perfect for the role of Count Dooku, the formidable Sith Lord in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Lee brought a sense of gravitas and menace to the character, making Count Dooku a memorable adversary for the Jedi Knights. His duels with the likes of Yoda and Anakin Skywalker are still talked about in hushed tones by Star Wars fans. But Lee didn't stop at ruling the galaxy. He also ventured into the enchanted realms of Middle-earth, taking on the role of Saruman in The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies. A wizard gone astray, Saruman's descent into darkness was masterfully portrayed by Lee. His deep-set eyes mirrored the corruption of a once noble wizard, while his resonant voice echoed the hypnotic allure of power and control. Saruman has gone down in history as one of the most iconic villains in fantasy cinema, thanks to Lee's pitch-perfect performance. These roles, among others, such as his collaborations with Tim Burton, cemented Lee's legacy as the ultimate franchise villain. He had the unique ability to bring depth and sophistication to his villainous characters, making them more than just obstacles for the heroes to overcome. They were complex, intriguing figures who were just as compelling as the protagonists they faced off against. Whether it was with a lightsaber or a magic staff, Christopher Lee's performances always left audiences spellbound. From the galaxy far, far away in Star Wars to the mystical lands of Middle-earth in The Lord of the Rings, Christopher Lee's villainous roles have transcended genres and generations. On June 7, 2015, the world said goodbye to one of its most iconic actors. A profound silence fell across the globe as news of Sir Christopher Lee's passing resonated with millions. This was not merely the end of a life, but the conclusion of a grand narrative that had been woven through the fabric of cinema for nearly 7 decades. Christopher Lee, a man who had served his country during the darkest hours of World War II, had transformed himself into an international symbol of villainy and charisma. His deep, resonant voice and towering presence had breathed life into some of the most memorable characters in film history, from the bloodthirsty Count Dracula to the power-hungry wizards of Middle-earth and the Star Wars galaxy. Yet there was so much more to Lee than his roles. He was a man of extraordinary talent, a singer who had performed opera and collaborated with heavy metal bands, a polyglot who could speak 8 languages, and a scholar with an insatiable curiosity for history and culture. In 2009, his remarkable contributions to drama were recognized with a knighthood, a fitting tribute to a man who had dedicated his life to the arts. Over the course of his career, he received numerous awards, each one a testament to his skill, his dedication, and his indomitable spirit. But perhaps the greatest testament to Lee's legacy is the impact he had on audiences around the world. His performances captivated millions, instilling a sense of wonder, fear, and excitement that transcended the boundaries of the screen. He inspired countless individuals to explore the world of film and storytelling, to embrace their own creativity, and to strive for excellence in their chosen fields. Christopher Lee's final act may have concluded, but his story continues to unfold. It lives on in the hearts and minds of those who admired him, in the films that continue to entertain and inspire, and in the lessons he taught us about dedication, resilience, and the transformative power of art. And with that, we conclude this entry into the Pantheon. Thank you for watching.